Okay, so let's look at the three ways that heat can actually be transferred. So we have conduction, we have convection, and we have radiation. Okay, and you're probably familiar with all three. So conduction, two objects have to be touching each other. So it's like, or material A is touching material B. So that energy is going to transfer from one material to another material. So they have to actually have a physical interaction. So how well they do that, again, I haven't been using these words, an insulator versus a conductor. So this is going to have a low specific heat of capacity, and this is going to have a high specific heat of capacity. So that's how when that intro and the intro discussion, walking on fire, walking on the coals. Again, don't do that at home. But what happens is the wood is an insulator, so it transfers heat poorly. It has a high specific heat of capacity, so it's not going to transfer that heat easily. And so if you can walk quickly across the coals, you don't give the wood enough time to transfer the heat to you. Now, like if you're walking on asphalt, you have to fly across it. So it's like when you're walking to your mailbox, you can walk on grass barefoot or you can walk on concrete barefoot. Well, they're both the same temperature, but concrete transfers that energy quicker to you and has absorbed that energy. Like if you go to the beach, it's the same idea, touching the sand versus touching the water. They have different heat capacities. They transfer that energy differently. So you can look at that. Convection. Some of you may have a convection oven. Some of you may have a convection oven and not even know you have a convection oven. But this actually transfer of heat by the motion of the fluids as it rises and falls. So you're looking at the motion of fluids. So like in an oven, you're getting the heat to rotate. So so you heat it here, it cools, and as it cools and it falls back down, the sun does this as well. So you'll see convection ovens. The sun actually has a convection zone where it looks like it's boiling. So, and I'll go through and try to get a video so you can see a convection oven, because some of you probably have conventional ovens. Like I said, some of you have convection ovens and you don't really realize that you have it. So I'm gonna put some videos up for the sun and stuff like that. So you get a cycle. And also this convection, the flow of the fluids, the air, that's how you can get these sea breezes, what we like to call on the coast. You get these sea breezes, you get the cooler air coming in the daytime because it's going to fill in. So you got a cycling of air. So if here's the breeze and here's your ocean, so the air comes in, it's cool air over the water, comes in, goes over this warmer sand, heats back up, and it's going to come out. So you get a sea breeze, this cooler air coming in as it's rotating around. And in at night, it's going to reverse. So it's going to cycle around and actually go the opposite direction at night. Radiation. We don't really deal a lot with radiation heat, but energy, but we do deal with it a lot with the sun. So this is energy that has not required a medium to travel through. So we talked about the sun already. We talked about how energy can go from the sun. And the next module, we'll talk about astronomy. We'll talk about a little bit more. But radiation, we talked about gamma rays. We talked about X-rays. We talked about that. You don't need a medium. So that energy doesn't have to be touching each other. It's not the flow of fluids. It's energy traveling through a vacuum, or can travel. So we're talking about X-ray energy that's producing heat. We're talking about gamma rays. We're talking about those type of things where that energy is transferred and can go through. So that radiation, are you producing this radiation? So nothing has to be touching, and you don't necessarily have a material that's going to be passing through. So that's going to be the type of thing. So I want to kind of make sure you're good with that. And most of you have been taught these three, but I want to make sure you're a little bit familiar. And again, I'll put some videos up so you can see the flow, especially the sun. The convection zone of the sun is really cool to see and see that motion as it's flowing through. So again, I'll put some videos up so you can have a better idea of what's going on there.